Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater. And one of the things that I was looking forward to when it came to Star Trek was this idea of an R-rated Star Trek movie, right? This R-rated Quentin Tarantino directed Star Trek film. The potential last film Tarantino would direct to be a Star Trek movie would be pretty freaking cool. But apparently, that's not going to be happening. And I think after all this time of talking about it, I think deep down I already kind of knew it. I think deep down you maybe knew it too. But let's find out more, shall we? It says here, as we probably should have seen this coming, remember that R-rated Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie? The one that was in the works of Paramount? The one that Tarantino said he was planning to direct on multiple occasions? Well, it's probably not happening. Tarantino now says that he's steering away from the project, which means we'll probably never get to see his take on Trek. Now, there's probably a number of reasons for that. If I had to guess, the biggest one is most likely the merger of Viacom and CBS and putting them back under one roof, which means that the license for Star Trek would no longer have to be granted to Paramount. It would just be underneath the same banner. So, and I think that, and I read an article yesterday that said like two new Star Trek movies are in production. There's also Star Trek 4 with Noah Hawley, and I'm not too sure if those two if that's one of the two that are going to be currently in development. So it does make sense, though, that this Tarantino movie would start to kind of like shift away. If it hadn't been like locked down by now, if it hadn't been somewhat greenlit by now or somewhere in the early stages of pre-production, it probably wasn't going to happen. Now, going on to say here, Tarantino says that he decided to crush the hopes and dreams of anyone hoping to see him make an R-rated Star Trek movie, saying, I think I'm steering away from Star Trek, but I haven't had an official conversation with those guys yet. Adding that his desire to retire soon has contributed to his decision. And I really wish he would stop talking about retirement. Like, come on, dude, you're a filmmaker. You're always going to want to be a storyteller. You're never going to retire. Don't even trip. He says here, in a strange way, it seems like this movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, would be my last. So I've kind of taken the pressure off myself to make that last big Viola kind of statement. I mean, to such a degree that there was a moment where I was writing and I went, should I do this now? Should I do something else? Is this the 10th one? No, don't stop the planets from aligning. What are you, Galactus? If the Earth is saying to do it, do it. Not that it was an argument, but it was a little thought. Like, if I'm going to go out like Max Ophius style, Lola Montez, this is it. And if it's not good, then all my other work is trash, all right? This would have been the one, but in a weird way, it's actually kind of freed me up. I mean, I have no idea what the story of the next one's going to be. I don't even have a clue. And you got to read that. Like, I can't even mimic the way Tarantino talks because he comes across like a coked up screenwriter from the 1980s, which is just fantastically Tarantino. Now it says here that this is a departure from what Tarantino was saying earlier this year, as recently as July. The director said, as long as Paramount likes the idea and the script, they almost got nothing to lose right now when it comes to Star Trek. Deadpool showed us you can rethink these things, do them in a different way. So really, even before JJ knew what the idea was, his feeling was, if this thing wants to be R-rated, fine. If he wants to do the Wild Bunch in space, fine. Now, when the reporter here spoke to Tarantino in May, he asked him about the project, and he says it's a very big possibility. I haven't been dealing with those guys for a while because I've been making my movie. But we've talked about a story in a script. The script has been written. And when I emerge my head, like Punxsutawney Phil, post Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, we'll pick up talking about it again. Now, the script is from Mark L. Smith based on an idea Tarantino came up with himself. This was the only element of the project giving me pause because I can't imagine Tarantino directing a movie that he didn't write himself. And apparently he couldn't imagine it either because he's moving away from the whole idea. Well, here's the thing. It wasn't just that. Like, there was a writer's room that they were working on trying to get this thing right. He was involved in it. He chose the writer. He knew the story. He was going to make this thing happen. He was not going to write it in essence, but his fingerprints would be all over it. Like, he was still involved in the process. What I think happened, and what I stand by my theory on this one, is that the Paramount, Viacom CBS deal is ultimately what's going to kill it. Because with this new merger, reuniting the companies, it just seems to make sense that they're going to want to keep it in-house. And I would assume at the same time that probably Netflix has something to do with this, most likely because there's a strong connection right now between not only, basically Viacom and Netflix, where Nickelodeon is developing original content for Netflix. Paramount and Netflix basically have a really good deal going on right now. And it does make a lot of sense that is potentially where things are going to be going for them. So having a Star Trek show that goes to Netflix, or a Star Trek movie that goes to Netflix makes a lot of sense because CBS All Access is going pretty strong. because they just renewed Picard for season 2 well before the release of the season next month. And then again, I mean, that's CBS All Access here in the United States, but that's on Netflix outside of the country. So it does show me that looking at like the synergistic nature of Star Trek and Paramount and Viacom and its connection with Netflix, that's the direction they're going to go to. And I think that's going to be one that's going to be quite fascinating to see where it goes. I really do hope this Tarantino movie picks up. I hope they do it. I hope they make it. I really do. I want to see it. If not, I hope the script gets leaked out and we get to read it at least, because at least that's something. But a Tarantino take on Trek is something that I think a lot of fans would like. Deadpool kind of reinvented the wheel on that front, so why not give it a go? Because really, they don't have anything to lose right now. Star Trek as a fan base is not growing. It hasn't been for quite some time. Ask any detractor on YouTube, they'll tell you that, but really, it's not growing. It's not like Star Wars. Star Wars, they've been reaching out and trying new things. Star Trek just kind of seems to be spinning their wheels and stuck in the sand. So you might as well try to give them a push with something like a Tarantino directed Star Trek. Anyway, your thoughts, your opinions, let me know down in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.